before you enter the corporate world, right? In fact, one of your last educations that you'll have, possibly one of the last educations, right? Before you you go on to, maybe some of you may want to pursue PhD or maybe higher studies, so thank you so much. So how many people have connected? Any idea how many people are there?
So right now around 20 participants are there,
All right, all right.
and a few
And these
more
are
are expected.
all right, and these are mix of finance and marketing.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes.
All right. Any idea how many finance, how many marketing?
Uh, Marketing around 8 to 9 participants are there, and rest
All
of
right,
finance.
all right, all right. So I am facing a finance heavy audience, right? And
Yeah.
not my strongest suit, but let me try, right? Uh, so of course, the topic which me and Surya agreed is that, can I talk to you about the traits of a successful sales and marketing. Uh, um, and let me tell you, I am no authority. I am no authority on what is what constitutes a successful sales and marketing profession, because like you guys, I am also learning, right? It's been what, 8 years into this journey. I can only share with you what has worked with me so far, what has worked for me, not worked for me along the way, what all the traits or all the attributes that I have picked up, and I can very humbly share that with you. It may work for you, it may not work for you also, right? At the end of it, to each person it is to his own. Each person will have his own style, but very important that I share with you that what worked for me, what is my view on how do you start about making your career in sales and marketing, and that's the attempt that I'm trying to make here. So before I actually venture into the topic of what the traits of sales and marketing, um, and it's important that I'm talking to an audience that they are pursuing a business administration course, right? A lot of you, all of you, in fact, are doing an MBA course. I was doing my MBA course, 8 years back at Wellinger. I was, 2013 batch pass out. Uh, it's and before I venture into that topic of sales and marketing, I just want to set a context that that only the MBA guys as MBA graduates, that as you pass out into the real world, or into the corporate world, it's very important to keep a back of your mind, before I even venture into the topics like what does it takes to be a good sales and marketing guy, you know so I to set the context, and like I said, I'm talking to an audience who is pursuing MBA and will be MBA graduates by the end of this course. uh, it's something that I always begin with, right? um, I keep saying that MBA, if you look at it, MBA is not a vocational training course, right? What do you mean? What I mean by vocational training course is that if you are an engineer, a lot of you might be an engineer. If you enroll yourself in an engineering course, right? Say for example, I enroll myself in a computer engineering course. I am expected to pick up some skills, which is computer knowledge. You learn some skills, right? If you enroll yourself in a law degree, in a law kind of course, you are expected to be a mastery of law, right? You are expected to know law in and out, right? uh, MBA is not a vocational or skill training, right? In that sense, MBA, if you ask what does MBA teach you, I'll come in a short while what does MBA teach you. But MBA, it's very important to understand that it's not a vocational training. You don't enter an MBA to get a particular skill, right? Again, MBA, I don't believe MBA is any kind of an entitlement, and nor it is a differentiator. Please get it out of your mind that because just because I'm an MBA, I am entitled to something, right? Just because I am an MBA, I have a differentiator with respect to my non-MBA guys. No, it's not. It's not, right? It's very important to understand. Do not breed that ego in yourself, right? The reason I'm taking you through all this is because one of the traits that you will pick up as you grow professionally, higher up the chain or higher up the ladder, it's very important to understand that just because you are an MBA or just because your education will not bring those traits to you, right? So you would ask me, Lokesh, when I enter corporate world, is it possible that I would be doing the same jobs that a non-MBA would be doing? Absolutely yes. So today, if I am a regional manager in South managing the sales and marketing operations for South for Pidilite, there is a regional manager in East who is not an MBA, right? Who's just grown within the ranks, right? So it's important to understand that MBA is not an entitlement. It doesn't give you any kind of differentiator, right? So you will ask me that, Lokesh, you are making me demotivated. What are you telling me? You are telling me that MBA doesn't give you anything. No, I'm not saying that. What MBA does, and that is what brings me to the topic which is very important, and what we are going to discuss over the next maybe 20 odd or half an hour, is that the MBA, the only job, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, that MBA gives you, the only thing that the MBA does is that it gives you a perspective. It gives you a perspective. It hones your problem solving skills, right? So say for example, you get hired for a particular job. Believe you me, when you get hired for a particular job, as a, say for example, as a relationship manager in a bank, or as someone who's selling loans in a bank, right? You are also, what you bring to the table is not just that someone told you to do this particular A B C D steps, and you do it, right? You are the one who will say, okay, I'm being told to follow step number A B C D. Now you will question the logic, that what is the logic behind this A B C D? That's what an MBA does. He questions. He understands that can I do it more efficiently? Is there a problem that where I'm facing, and I cannot solve it? A non-MBA, or maybe your non-MBA colleagues will not have that attitude, right? When what you go through this training is that perspective, is to seek answers to problems which are there. You are not there. You are not. No company is recruiting you to actually do the status quo. Are you understanding? So no company will get you. Pidilite didn't hire me. So I want a better area sales manager. Maybe a MBA would make him a better area sales manager. No, there are enough good number of sales people who are non-MBA. Why did Pidilite hire me, or why did any company will hire an MBA? Is because you guys can go there. You guys can understand that, okay, this is a particular process, or this is a particular system which is going on. I can add value to this particular process, right? And maybe I can improve this process for better. I can improve this process so that the person following me, so the person who replaces me, it has to be more efficient than what I am doing this job right now, right? That is what is the core job that you study in all your courses. Is that how do I solve problems better? How do I make systems and processes much more efficient, right? That's in a nutshell, if you ask me, is the entire theory, or entire objective of why you should go to this 2 years rigorous training of an MBA, right? Now, coming to the topic is that now post MBA, right? A lot of you will not go and become the CEO, right? A lot of you will not go on and become a CFO, or a chief marketing officer, or a chief financial officer, right? So I'm sure you know that. But if you look at the course, look at the case studies that we study, right? And not just in your B school, I'm saying in any B school of the world, every case study, the curriculum is such that it assumes that next day, after you pass out of your B school, you are going to become some CEO or a CFO or a CMO. No, it doesn't work like that in real world, right? You start right at the bottom, at the front line, right? Like I started as a territory sales in charge in rural Bihar, in a place called Begusarai. I don't know how many of you would know, or people who are from Bihar would understand Begusarai. So in fact, when I was recruited as a management trainee, I was sitting for my president, who was the SBU head, to give me my location, right? And he looked at me and said, Lokesh, oh, you are going to Begusarai in Bihar. And I was wondering, where on earth is Begusarai, on in Bihar? And you wouldn't believe I went to Google and I searched Begusarai. Where exactly is this particular place in Bihar? The first link which came up for Begusarai, it said it is the crime capital of Bihar. Now imagine, for someone who has studied all his life in Mumbai, before this, before MBA, I never went out of Mumbai for my studies. Now here I am, going to one of the crime capital. That's what the Wikipedia page told me. It's known as the crime capital of Bihar. Though the place was lovely, I loved the place. Right, a lot of memories there. So, but I started as a sales stint in Bihar in Begusarai. A lot of you will start as, like I said, as relationship managers, dealing with clients, dealing with some really, really angry and difficult clients, right? A lot of you will start maybe selling loans. A lot of you will start as maybe selling credit cards, right? Remember, don't have an ego, right? Don't say, oh, I didn't study strategy. Oh, I studied strategy in B school. Maybe this is not what I am cut out for. Don't have that ego, right? It's very important that what is made out so glamorous in the case studies and in the curriculum. The real world may not turn out to be as glamorous as you believe so, right? But the problems will be far more difficult than the case studies or the curriculum makes it out to be. See, in a case study, the problem seems very simple. Oh, there is a balance sheet problem, there is a debt problem, or there is a falling sales. Sales are not improving, and maybe some consultant will walk in, and there is some strategy behind which you put in, and maybe at the end of it, people debate. In real world, the problems are much more difficult, right? So why am I telling you this is because that the first 3 years, the first frontline stint that you have when you go out in the real world, be it as a relationship manager, be it as a salesman, be it as someone who's in charge of the credit card for a particular area, those first few years will be the bedrock of your professional career. Enjoy it as much as possible, right? Learn, because the lessons that you will pick up from that stint is what is going to hone you as a professional going forward, right? Even today, when I go back, when I work with my managers and work with my boys in the field, the I love doing that sales. I love going to the shopkeeper, telling them about my products. Okay, this is what the new product is. This is what it does, this is what it doesn't. Have that passion for it. Believe me, if you don't develop a passion for it, if you don't believe that this is the job that I need to keep doing, and believe and understand, and trust me, even my CEO, when he walks into the market, he does the same. It's not that my CEO or managing director, when he walks into the market, he is sitting in the car. No, when he is in the market, he's also doing the same thing. He's also going to the retailer. He's also going to the outlet and telling him that why you should buy my product. Now that's a job. Everyone. So never lose touch, or never believe that this is something that I have to do it only for maybe for first 1 year or 2 year, and maybe when I move up the rank, or when I move up the chain, I will not have to do this. This is the and that is why I keep saying the first 3 years of your career will decide the next 30 years of your career. It will be a bedrock, in the sense that what kind of professional you grow up to be is what the first 3 years decide, because a lot of your discipline, a lot of your attitudes will get shaped in the first 3 years, right? uh, Now, there are having said that, and this is the 5 things which I picked up so far, and I would like to share those 5 things which I have, that a couple of tips which you can use once you move out of the B school and enter the corporate world, right? And these are the 5 tips which has helped me. These are the 5 mantras which has helped me so far. I hope as I go along, I keep continue adding to this repertoire of knowledge which I am developing. But I'm sharing this with you, and maybe this might help you guys also. Um, so the first thing which I learned as soon as I entered the corporate world, after finishing my MBA, after finishing my studies, is that do not, never ever try to become a consultant. Never try to be a consultant. Don't just have an idea and walk up to your manager and say, oh, I have this idea, why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? The corporate world hates people who has only ideas but has no action. If you have ideas, go ahead, implement it, and then come back and tell me that what happened to that idea. So I'll give you an example. When I was in Bihar and I was a sales guy. I was managing my distributor who's in charge of distributing in an area. If this distributor had no distributor sales representative. So and ideally a distributor should always have a sales representative. But this distributor is saying, boss, I don't earn so much from your company, right? Then I cannot afford to have a distributor salesperson. Then I kept trying, I kept trying to convince the distributor, saying, boss, if you get an additional manpower in place, we will be able to cover additional outlets, and that sales will compensate the salary that you will give him. But he was not ready to buy into that argument. I had two options in front of me. Either I go back to my management and say, why don't we give a subsidy? Why don't we introduce a subsidy model to have distributors have distributor sales representative on their payroll, and maybe 50% or 45% or 60% of the cost will be borne by the company, right? If I went with an idea on the slide to my managers, I know my managers would have rejected that idea outright, right? What I was able, and maybe that at that time, better sense prevailed in me. I said that let me do one thing. Let me ask the distributor, and at a great personal, maybe cost, I did this. I said, ki, if you get a guy, new in the system, allow him to be there for 3 months. If he doesn't become profitable to you, that means the sales that he's bringing to you and the salary that you are paying to him, if it doesn't become profitable to you, you can discontinue the guy. I will never pick up this topic again. The distributor fortunately agreed, right? I then, of course, my sale, of course, registered a massive hike in that particular area. I went back to my management with that case study. I said, look, guys, I got this guy. I told the distributor that maybe for 3 months, if it doesn't work out for you, you can discontinue the distributor sales rep. But this is what I did, and this is what my learning is. Believe you me, the management was far more happy with me that I did not just come to them with an idea, right? I had an idea. I implemented the idea in a small scale in my own area. What was the cost of failure? Nothing. Even if I failed, for a company as big as 6,000 crore company, right? Even if I failed in some remote location of Bihar, the company, there is no risk here. But the upside of it is very high. I went to the manager and said, boss, this can really work. Why don't we introduce a subsidy model to my distributors? Why don't we tell them, over 3 months, I subsidize the cost of your distributor sales rep by 50%. After 3 months, I bring it down to 40%. After 3 months, I bring it down to 20%. And maybe after that, it is the distributor on distributor payroll entirely. Because after 9 months, the additional guy will bring in enough sales for the distributor to justify, having that particular guy on his payroll, right? So that particular moment, sort of uh, make me understood that never ever. And believe you me, today when I see management trainees joining in my organization, today when I see management trainees joining in my team, the single biggest irritating factor is that these guys will come up to you and say, why don't we do this? They try to be consultant, right? Please do not be consultant. Believe you me on this. There are enough McKinseys, there are enough Boston consulting groups, there are enough Bain and Company in the world out there who will come to the company and give them their advice, right? And with a lot of weight, right? We do not. The companies are not recruiting you for consultancy. The company are recruiting you to drive action, right? The companies are recruiting you to become a change agent, right? That is the reason the companies are recruiting you. They are not recruiting you to be a consultant. Don't ever try to be a consultant, at least in the first 3 years of your career. You put your head down and keep working. If you have an idea, implement it first. Or if you believe, you need to align with your boss, tell your boss, go with a proposal to your boss. Boss, I have this small idea. If I implement this, maybe the risk of implementing idea is very, very minimal. But if this idea becomes successful, and if this idea is successful, and if we are able to scale it up, the upside of this is very, very high. So can I try this? Go with proposals to your managers. The organizations will absolutely appreciate that. But do not go with just blanket ideas. Let's do this, let's do that. Do not go with those blanket ideas. Like I said in the earlier thing which I was discussing with you guys. is that you don't go on to become a CEO, CFO, right? You will not, on the first day of your job, no company will give you the balance sheet and tell you, "Ki boss, tell me what's the problem in my balance sheet. Can you correct it?" No company is going to do that, right? So you will start right at the bottom. You will start right at the front line where the action is, right? And you will learn the action. Try to be as innovative as possible. Try to be all your ideas, apply it there. Learn, fail as much as you want, from your ideas there, and then you start, going, moving the, the ladder up. That's point number one. I have never tried to become a consultant I never go with an idea if I have not tried it, if I have not tried it on a small scale, if it has not been, and believe you me, and again, understand, please trust me, is did the idea, when I tried implementing it, did it work for the first time? Of course it not. It took me 3 months to get the idea right in the first place. So maybe the first time the guy came in, the amount of outlets that he was doing was less. I realized it later, 15 days. Oh, the sales is not coming in. So you have to keep improving. You have to keep going back to the same idea again and again. Keep changing it, keep improving it. And once you know that this is the best model and this can sustain, then you go back to your managers or to your company and tell them, "Ki boss, this is the idea, right? This is what I did with the idea. This is what my results are. This is what the success looks like. This is what the possible failure may look like. And this is my proposal. Why don't we do this?" Believe you me, if you do that, that will bring you, or that will get you far more credibility in your organization when you join as a MBA graduate, rather than some graduate who has just come out of the school fresh with ideas, a lot of ideas, but no action. Yep. Point number one. Point number two, question everything, guys. Whenever you go to any organization, whenever you are given a job, question everything. Do not question the intent. Do not question the, "Oh, you are giving me, this." The intent is not to question it for the sake of doing it. The intent is, or not to find faults. Do not question just to find faults. Or my job here as an MBA is to find faults. No, do not give that particular vibe, but question with an intent for an understanding. Okay, if this particular process is to be followed this way, then I want to understand the logic, that why is this process this way. So say for example, a lot of you might join in banking firms or in institutional financial firms, and there is a credit limit issue, or with particular customer. So understand that what is the process to be followed if we have to get a credit limit of particular institutional customer, or a retail customer enhanced, right? So what is the process? Why is the process this way? What is the underlying logic? Check the logic. Does the logic hold true? A lot of times in any organization, organization as big as mine, organizations in a small organization, bigger organization, all of the process are very, very old. All of these processes have been updated very, very early, and no one cared to look back at the process. Is it relevant right now, or does this process needs updation in the current scenario? So question everything. Say ki, what's the logic behind it. Again, the idea is not to find faults. The idea is to understand the process so that you can possibly make a suggestion. You can possibly understand the process better to make an improvement, right? So I again give you a small example. We have depots, right? From the depot, the stock moves to a distributor. Now from the depot, say for example, there are 10 distributors who place orders. The system has a logic of prioritizing whom to give stock. Now for many years, everyone in the organization believed the priority logic is FIFO. So if a distributor has a stock, he will give it to the first distributor who is placing the order. Now what is the logic behind it? Logic is that because there's a electricity cut. I'm not too sure if the connection is still there. Can someone confirm? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Can,
Yes, sir.
yeah. Was I audible?
Also, in between a minute, it was not.
All right. All right. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Like I was saying that I'll give you an example which in my days, we did is that there is a logic of allocation of stocks, right? From a depot, when a distributor gets stock, there is a particular logic that's there is a system of allocation of stocks. Now that logic, we every one of us, tacitly believe that that particular logic is the FIFO logic, that first in first out. The distributor who places the order first will get the stocks first. In fact, when we dig deeper, actually, because there were certain anomalies in the system that we were discovering, right? When we dig deeper, we understood that the logic is not FIFO. The logic is something very different, right? So it's very important, guys, that question everything, that uh, what are the systems processes, why are the system processes that way, from an understanding perspective, so that your understanding goes up higher, right? And you are able to contribute much better, right? The third thing which has always worked for me is that the strive to be an expert on internal systems, processes, policies. As a young graduate who has walked in, you have to be a expert in the internal. Every company has an internal system. Every company has internal systems, processes. What's the process to get the credit limit updated, like I was saying, right? So every company has in the immense number of processes. You as a young graduate, when you walk in, you should be an expert on all the systems processes. That's the first win that you will have. In the first 3 months, you should be knowing more about the company internal processes than the people who have been there for years. And believe me, it's easier to do that, because all you have to do is understand the systems, understand the processes, read the processes, that what is the entire system, so that you are not someone who is constantly seeking help from anyone, hey, how to do this, how to do that, right? Once you understand, you become an expert. So maybe there is a meeting where people are discussing where how to solve this problem. Because you have such in-depth understanding of the company system and processes, the value addition that you will do will be very, very high. People will understand, my goodness, he's not someone who has just walked in just a few days back, right? He knows the system processes and he has made some really good points, right? So in my opinion, strive to be an expert on systems, processes, policies, whatever internal are there in the company. It will give you an instant win in the boardroom, right? First, it will also lift up your own confidence, right? You will be far more confident when dealing with things, when dealing with processes, when speaking out in meetings, because you know your stuff, right? You'll be far more confident, right? It's because, see, only when you know things, only when you understand things, can you recommend changes, right? And this is the larger objective behind sending you behind your stints. Like I was saying, the organization is not sending you to just keep doing the same job again and again. The organization is sending you is because that they believe that because you have come from a particular way of thinking, right? You can add value to whatever job you are doing, right? That's the reason. And you can only do that once you understand the systems, processes, everything very, very thoroughly, right? The fourth thing is a very important thing, and a lot of time is it's often not given the importance that it should be given, right? And I call these the hygiene part of the job. These are hygiene parameters of your job that are non-negotiable. You should never ever kind of take your eyes off on these hygiene parameters, which I call. Now, what are these hygiene parameters? Hygiene parameters are punctuality. Never, please do not try to, of course, traffics can be crazy. Of course, in the post pandemic world, all of us are joining in, from our remote locations. Be on time, whether it is joining from remote, whether it is physically. Absolutely be on time, guys. The biggest turn off that you can give off is that not to respect other people's time, right? So be on time. Remember, you are looked at as a possible candidate who will go to become a manager in future, right? The organization looks at you that maybe this is the guy who will go on to become as a manager in future. If for in my profession, in my role, I ask my boys, which is the frontline guys, to be in the market by 10:30. So if he knows that today my boss is going to come in the market to work with me, and if I am not going to the market by 9:30, do you think what image he will carry about me? Oh, this guy, he tells me to be in the market by 9:30, but he himself is coming in the market by 11 o'clock, right? So it's very important, guys, that the hygiene parameter, you have to be an example to others. That boss, he walks the talks, right? He is the guy who's absolutely punctual, right? Who if he is asking someone else to do something, he himself is doing that first, right? The secondly, dress very, very sharply. Now, dressing sharply doesn't mean that you wear some Prada or Louis Vuitton clothes. That's not the intent, right? You can absolutely wear absolutely smartly your normal shirt, or your trousers, or traditional Indian clothes, whatever you can, but dress it very, very sharply. Do not iron your clothes. For boys, I'm saying trim. Trim your beard. I these days I don't keep beard because it doesn't suit me, right? But these days boys like to have beard, right? It doesn't look well if you don't maintain it properly. It gives off an attitude that you are lazy. Someone who's not serious about his own self. You are asking people to take you lightly. Believe you me, I don't know how many of speakers who will come and tell you this, but these are very, very important, guys. Iron your clothes, polish your shoes. Very important. Gives off an image, gives off something that you are serious. You take this job very, very seriously, right? It's very important in the first 3 years. Yeah. So these are the hygiene parameters which I call are non-negotiables for me. Someone who's joining me, my team, someone who's joining my organization, I absolutely judge those people on the hygiene parameter. Is he on time, right? Is he taking himself seriously, right? Is what he's asking his team members to do, is he doing that first in the first place, right? How well is he dressed for the occasion, right? So of course, if there's a casual occasion, you have to dress casually. You cannot turn up in suits, right? For a casual occasion. If there is a serious occasion, if you have to be dressed for the occasion, right? You have to understand that you have to give out that particular message, that I take this job seriously, right? And the last thing, of the 5 things which I said, and we come to an end of the long gyan which I've given you guys. uh, the last thing is that always, when you are new in the organization, when you have taken up the new role as a sales guy or a marketing guy or a finance guy, always look out for the tough assignments. If there is a tough assignment, if there is a tough project, please raise your hand and say, I want to do this. What's the benefit of becoming a management trainee or a trainee or a new guy, is that no one expects you that you can actually solve that issue. So say for example, if there is a really tough issue, if there is a tough assignment, right? Like in sales we say the rural assignment, or the rural sales is a very tough job. Raise your hand, say, I want to do this. It looks like tough, you know and the beauty of this is no one expects you to be successful because you are only training, right? So no one expects you to be successful. So even if you fail, you don't lose anything, right? Because you are a trainee and because you are new and you are taking on a very tough job, no one expects you to be successful. If you fail, no one tells you that you don't lose any face. But think of it, that if you become successful, what kind of coup will that be, right? So always volunteer for tough assignments in your initial days. You don't you There is no risk. You don't run any risk when you volunteer for tough assignment. If you fail, you learn. If you succeed, of course, you have done something which maybe other people were, the experienced people in the organization were very scared to take it up, right? So those are the 5 things which I keep saying, is that don't be a consultant, drive action, right? Question everything, not with an intention to find faults, but with an intention to understand and possibly make an improvement, right? Third, Strive to be an expert on internal systems, policies, processes. Be an expert. You should be the go-to guy on the internal policies, systems, and processes. Fourth, take care of the hygiene parameters. You know, your hygiene parameters of how do you respect other people's time? Do you respect your own time? How are you dressing for the occasion? Is very important, the hygiene parameters. And fifth, volunteer for the tough assignments. Do always put up your hand when you see a tough assignment, because no one actually expects you to be successful in those tough assignments. If you fail, no one will fault you for it. You know, you will actually learn a lot from it. But if you become successful, you know, that will be something that will go on in the organization, that this guy, a new guy, took up this tough assignment and went ahead and, you know, made a success out of it, right? So those are the 5 things which which I keep saying to everyone, that it's very important in these traits to become a sales and marketing guy. And lastly, I would say, please make a lot of mistakes. Make a lot of mistakes, but with only one caveat: do not repeat those mistakes. If you repeat the mistake, you have wasted a mistake, right? So do not make a lot of mistakes, because ultimately everyone makes a mistake. From the CEO to the managing director to the chairman to the the frontline guy, everyone makes a mistake. If you we are a sum total of all the mistakes that we have done, all the failures that we are, right? So it's important you make mistakes, but do not repeat them. You have wasted a mistake if you repeat your mistakes. Yeah. So I come to an end of our session, which exactly I was in time. Yeah, thank you. So half an hour which was there. Thank you so much for patiently listening to me. And if you guys were able to listen to me, and if there are any questions, I would be happy to take up, if at all.
Thank you, sir. Very, very wonderful points that you discussed. I would request the students to unmute and ask your questions, or maybe you can type in the chat box if you have any questions.
I would appreciate if people can unmute and ask, so I
Yes,
can
yes,
get
yes,
some,
sure.
because I'm feeling I'm talking to myself for the last half an hour.
No, sir, sure, sure. Please unmute and ask your questions.
Everyone is smarter, I'm sure. That's okay.
So there's one thing I would like to, ask on. Mostly, especially the finance students, if we look into, are quite reluctant about the sales role. So, any points you would like to share on that?
See, I tell you, I started my career in sales, in rural sales. I did 3 years of rural sales, and then I shifted to marketing. I was looking after MC and Sleeper for roughly 3 years. And then, of course, I came back to become a regional manager, having both sales and marketing. Uh, Now I understand that there is a fear of sales role. The fear is that target. A lot of, and believe you me, when I joined sales, the number one thing which I had a fear, what if I don't do my targets, right? That will finish my career. What's a sales guy who doesn't do his target? That's how it made out to be. The targets, the targets have to happen. Believe you me, uh, there is no company where 100% of the people do all the targets. And if you and in best of the best companies, and in any company, the targets are not key, it's not a judgment on you. It's a judgment on company's internal processes. So when I judge my people, I don't judge my people. And in many companies you'll find this: you will not be judged whether you have achieved your target or not. You will be judged whether you followed the process or not. So in my role, when I started off in my sales role, I was supposed to be doing 30 calls. That is, I will go to each outlet. I will do 30 calls in a day. Am I doing that or not? Am I going and explaining him and showing him the videos? Am I showing him the product attributes or not? If I'm doing that, if my manager knows that I'm recording all of that, he was more than happy. Believe me, sales is not a function of the outcome. Sales is a function of the process. Well, 95% of the companies in the world follow the process first rather than the outcome. So if you are asked to do a sales job, take it, lap it up. It's the most exciting role. It's the only role where the gratification is very instant. Believe, I have done marketing, 3 years of marketing, and by the time you realize whether you are doing well or not, it is mostly after 1.5 years, when the campaign, when the new product that you have launched, it starts giving its fruits, right? But in sales, it is very instant, for the day, right? And sales, people make out to be very brutal. It's not. In fact, some of the best people I've met in my life are in sales, right? You'll make some of your best friends in sales, and take it up as a challenge. If, say, for example, tomorrow when you go on to become, you're in finance, you go on to become a manager, or you go on to sit on important projects. It's important to understand that how does the customer think. That will only come to you when you have done sales. And let me tell you finally, today, whenever I speak in my internal meetings, or when I talk to my management, they take my word far more seriously. You know why? Because I have done sales. I know that what is the customer, what is the consumer on the ground, or what is the customer, the retailer thinks like. They do not take me lightly, right? So if you have done sales, when you speak, or when you put up your points, in front of the boardroom, you will have a lot more takers for your points, when if you have done sales. But if you have not done sales, people will question your ability. Well, how do you know, man? You have not done a day of your life in sales. Yeah. So it's a very, first and foremost, do not be worried about the target. you know eh, Target is not a function of the targets are the last thing in a sales job that you will see. The first thing that people will always see is, are you following the process? Are you doing the process which is there? And that is where the juice of the learning will be.
Yes, sir. Very, very true. Rightly said. Anybody else having any questions?
Hello.
Yeah,
Yes,
hi, Mayank,
Mayank.
right?
Yes, sir. Good morning. I am a MBA
Good morning.
finance student here at Imperial. I
Uh-huh.
have one question for you. Like you
Sure.
said that companies, they do not really care about targets. But
Yeah.
with all due respect, sir, I have a contradicting opinion on that, because the
Yeah.
companies that I worked with in the past, they had a very, they were very adamant that yes, if these are the targets, then no matter what, come what may, you have to achieve these targets. So what would you suggest? What should be some tips from your side, since you worked in sales? How can a person effectively achieve his targets and stay competent in the workplace at the same time?
Hello.
Hello, was I not audible, sir?
Yeah, I lost you in between.
Oh, I'm so sorry. So, as I said, I have worked with a few market research and other companies in the past,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they were very adamant on, achieving targets, and
Yes.
they cared a great deal about the same thing.
Yes.
So, what would you suggest for a person who is not that into sales?
Hmm.
How would they, incline, get that, that mindset? How do they acquire that mindset of
Yeah.
achieving the targets, and, still
Yeah.
stay competent in the workplace?
Absolutely. So let me tell you, Mayank, having but while I am saying this, that the targets don't matter. Do you think when I discuss it with my boys, I say that? Of course not, right? But believe you me, I don't judge my boys whether if they are they achieving target, or in a month or not, right? Yes, if over a consistent period of time, if you are not able to achieve, then there's something fundamentally wrong. Either the process is wrong, or either maybe there's something wrong with you. That's a conversation that is there between the manager and the employee, right? But of course, the reviews will be there. People will be tough. That's the beauty of sales, that people will push you, that boss, this needs to happen. But best of the best companies will not take action on you, if you have missed your targets for 1 month or 1 quarter also. I am I've been in this company for roughly 7.5, 8 years now. There is not, and I can proudly tell you, in Pidilite, there is not a single guy, in fact, not just in Pidilite. I have friends in many other sales driven companies and FMCG sales driven companies which are absolutely in fact, let me tell you, I have a friend in a credit card company, American Express, right? He describes the culture as dog eat dog. That means, everyone is just chasing behind the numbers, that I want this particular customer to be onboarded. The schemes are there, right? But at the end of it, no one will be penalized. Yes, whether you get promoted or not will be depending upon how well are you doing. But if will you get penalized because you're not able to do for 1 month or 1 quarter of targets? No, no company will do that, right? No company will penalize you, at least for a short term target missing, right? Now, coming to the point that if I am not inclined to doing sales, right? If I am neurologically, if I'm not very, my heart is not into sales, or I really don't think I can do sales. um, it's like I'm sorry to say this, but it's like saying ki I want to become an MBA without going through my schools. I don't want to do my 10 standard and 10 plus 2, right? I don't want to do that, but I directly want to do an MBA. It doesn't happen that way. It's a process. You have to understand that, and you don't have to be absolutely brilliant in sales. Please understand this, guys, right? So you don't have to be absolutely go-getter and those champion salesmen, Rocket Singh, who's very thrifty. No, no one is asking you to be as good as that, right? Of course, there are people who are like that and they will grow in sales. All people are asking you is to first understand the process. Own the process. Are you doing it with all your heart? Are you understanding that what does it take? And sales is not what is made out to be. Where you keep chasing, where you keep telling people please buy me, please. It doesn't happen that way. A lot of sales doesn't happen that way. Your MRs, and a lot of sales comes from that institutional memory. It is very hard selling. No, it doesn't happen that way. It is very what do you say, very respectable also. If I have to put it that way. So you don't have to worry that will not be able, if I'm not cut out for it. No one is cut out for it. Am I cut out for marketing? I don't know. Am I cut out for sales? I don't know, unless and until I do it, right? You take your, so say for example, you enter sales, and you think that maybe I'm not enjoying this, I'm not enjoying this pressure. But it's important for me to understand the psyche of the consumer. It's important for me to understand the process. Let me do this for 1.5 years, 18 months, 24 months, and then maybe I'll go back to my manager and tell him, what, boss, I may not be very good in sales, I understand the process, but I'm very good here. Look at my record in these particular things. And maybe, with respect to the marketing of so and so particular products, I'm very good at. Believe you me, even marketing is sales. I have done marketing. If someone tells you marketing is not sales, marketing may not seem like selling to outside customer. Marketing is more about selling to inside customer. You think, if when I go to my CEO with a product proposal, I want to launch this particular product, he will say, oh, you are my marketing guy, I will sign off. Oh, marketing is a lot more tiresome. It took me 3 years to launch one product, to convince everyone inside the organization, to tell them, boss, this is the idea worth chasing. Everyone will have the opinion, and the only thing that will go, you are able to convince internal people or not. It's all about internal sales. And once you launch the product also, you think you can take your hands off, the marketing guy can take the hands off. You will have to understand that why is the consumer not working? What is the competition doing? How is the competition better than me? If the competition better than me, why is the sales not picking up? If the sales are picking up, what are the trends? Even the marketing is a lot of sales, guys, right? We actually underestimate the aspect of sales in everyday things that we do.
Very, very true, sir. Thank you so much for that.
Yep. Thanks, man.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, hi, Nadeem.
Hello, sir. I am Nadeem. Sir, how is the Pidilite able to maintain their marketing position for such a long period?
See, if that's a good question. So I tell you, Pidilite has this knack of entering uh, non-glamorous categories. So if you look at the product categories that we enter, no other company would actually be interested to enter this category. But we enter categories which are non-glamorous, which are unorganized. We enter that category and make it organized, and we become the biggest player there. So glue, so the super glue, the Fevikwik, right? As a category was non-existent in India, right? Pidilite entered, made a brand out of it, and now 90% share in Fevikwik category belongs to Pidilite. In fact, Fevicol as a product, if the story goes, what I keep hearing is that before the white glue that they all use right now in furniture making and sticking our pages and all, before the white glue, the carpenters used to use the animal bones, used to melt them, and the glue out of animal bones used to be applied to make carpentry work, right? Pidilite, the founder saw that's an opportunity there, right? Let me go ahead and tell them, why are you doing all this? I have a product which is as good or even better, in particular application, right? You don't have to do all this. This is a much better product. So the knack of Pidilite is identifying, this unorganized sector or these smaller. These are not huge these are not huge markets, right? Give and take the Sino, the instant glue market, the Fevikwik market is hardly 450 500 crore, but right. But we are the 90% of the share is with Pidilite, right? So no other when you have 90% share in a small market, the entry to barrier is too high. What will if tomorrow if ITC decides, I want to challenge Pidilite here, what will ITC do? Enter into a 500 crore market and take what? Maybe 50 crore, 60 crore, 100 crore, because of course Fevikwik is very big there. It will take them some time to get some market share. Even with Maggi, Sunfeast, today all said and done, they are at 12% market share. They, and Maggi still is at somewhere around 65% market share, having burned so much money in Sunfeast, right? So market shares do not change overnight, right? It takes a lot of time to change market shares. So that is one of the reasons which I see in Pidilite is that understand that which are the segments which are smaller, understand the segments which are unorganized, strategically enter them and become a leader in that. So you become a big fish in a small pond.
Sir, one follow-up question to this.
Sure.
Sir, if any company thinks that we want to compete with Pidilite, I mean, such a not that Fevicol thing to Fevikwik. It is much smaller than Fevicol, so they can compete in Fevikwik. So, what is the strategy of Pidilite to means get over them? Like
Yeah.
it will take almost 5 to 6 years to cover that thing. Means that much market as Fevikwik, but uh, means what will be the strategy that Pidilite will get over to compete? Means to reverse back the market of a competitor.
Sure. Thanks, Nadeem. So actually, Nadeem, it's not that we have not faced competition. So I just want to ask the broader audience, how many of you have heard the product ResiQuick? Any one of you have heard the product ResiQuick?
No,
Yes,
sorry, sir,
sir.
no.
Oh, sir.
No, sir.
Yeah. So ResiQuick is a product which is a competitor of Fevikwik. Was launched by not by a small company. ResiQuick was launched by Astral. The Astral the pipes. It's a very big company. Was launched by Astral, and they came out with ads. And the brand ambassador for ResiQuick was Varun Dhawan. Varun Dhawan was the brand ambassador for ResiQuick. There was huge ads that went on for ResiQuick, right? Now our strategy is very very simple. Is that the consumer know the category by Fevikwik. We have I for a fact know that even the competition sells by the name of Fevikwik. So if there is if Fevikwik, the competition sells only because Fevikwik is not available, right? So if they I have this strange thing which I have heard a consumer saying कि अरे वो ResiQuick वाला Fevikwik दे दो, right? So they know the category by the name of Fevikwik. So the brand pull is too high. So what is our strategy when a competition enters? Our strategy is absolutely in our category in Fevikwik, the visibility drives demand. If I go in all my outlets, the first thing that we do is that if I make my product visible, So my guys will go make the product visible right in the center of the outlet. So the first thing that consumer will, between a Fevikwik and a Resikwik, of course the consumer will pick up a Fevikwik because he knows the brand for a very long time, right? So we amp up our entire visibility in the market, right? So we'll put a lot of money in enhancing the visibility. You'll see dealer boards, you will see a lot of visibility driven elements, because our learning suggests that if I am visible, I will sell, right? Second, our and we go back to our consumers and remind them that the good old Fevikwik is still there. So of course Resikwik will be there on air, will be advertising to its target audience. We will also kind of increase our advertisements on air, on BTL, on ATL, and try to. It's all about getting more visibility. If I'm more visible, I know the competition will have no chance. And secondly, and lastly, in fact, we because the distribution strength of Fevikwik, the distribution strength of Pidilite is so huge, is for any we can identify a competition very early. Immediately we'll get to know that so and so area, so and so city, in so and so outlet the competition is launched. So we can go sharpshoot. We will go to the outlet. We will dump our stocks there. We will tell to the retailer that why are you buying this stock which is going to come back as a damage to you. This will become a non-mover for you. It will become a dead investment for you. Why are you investing in that? So we sharpshoot our particular mm, uh, strategy with respect to visibility and respect to the distribution. Fevikwik, in fact, I don't know how many of you know this. Fevikwik recently was listed as the single SKU. The 5 rupees SKU which you see is the single SKU with the biggest, with the most, with the widest distribution network in the country. So we are available in 2 million outlets. This is a single SKU with this kind of distribution, right? You will find Fevikwik from a fan outlet to a hardware outlet to a FMCG outlet to a pipe outlet. Everywhere you will find Fevikwik.
Okay, sir. Great, sir. Congratulations, sir, and thank you, sir.
Thanks, Naveen.
Hello.
Yeah,
Sir, I
Mahesh.
have another question for you, if you don't mind.
Sure, sure.
My question, it's a two-part question. So first is a sales-driven, a sales-heavy company like Pidilite. It depends primarily on its distribution channel, as you rightly said,
Yeah.
for the revenue, right? And considering the COVID scenario in India, how has COVID-19 affected the overall operations of the company first, and what has the company done to tackle it?
See, of course, I like for everyone else, the sales and it is now out there in the public domain. The sales in April was zero for us. The entire all India lockdown was there, so we there was nothing that we could do. Of course, the sales started picking up slowly in May. June, July were much better, and of course, from August, September, we are looking at a very very good recovery in terms of the consumer sentiment and the entire sales coming back to the channel pipeline. What we are also seeing is that because post COVID, the tailwind is that DIY behavior of the consumer has gone up. So no longer the consumer wants to go to the cobbler. The consumer wants to take that Fevikwik and keep using his maybe a chappal or his shoes, keep sticking himself. So the occasion of usage has also gone up for us, right? So these are the broader consumer sentiments that we are looking, and of course post COVID the DIY behavior has gained a lot of momentum. So for my M-Seal, for Fevikwik, for Fevistick, right? Even for products like Dr. Fixit, and Steel Grip, we are getting good momentum because there were a lot of pent-up demand that the construction was not happening. We are seeing a good demand which is coming back everywhere. So post-COVID, yes, the recovery was a bit slow in the earlier months, but now has picked up really very well. The rural and the small town India has come back the fastest. Urban India, the bigger centers of Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore are a bit slower, but now we are seeing recovery even there quite fast. And sorry, what was the second question which you asked?
The second part was, has the company made any tweaks or any amendments in its normal logistics? Like other companies, they have started online deliveries. What
See,
has Pidilite?
we do have a very we have a separate channel for looking after e-commerce and modern trade, and of course they are going and they are doing very well. In fact, post COVID, they are seeing a lot of traction there. I don't have the exact numbers with me, so they are of course doing a lot of good stuff there. And I for a fact know that the post COVID, the entire modern trade and the e-commerce channel, the emerging channel that we call it, is growing at a very good pace.
That was very insightful. Thank you again, sir.
Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Hi Jayanti.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Very good afternoon.
I'm Jayanti. I'm doing MBA in marketing from ISBMS. And my question is, what are the challenges you faced in sales while in doing in Begusarai in Bihar, like in rural area? What were the challenges you faced, and how did you overcome them?
Thank you for that question. Challenges. So the first challenge, when I entered Begusarai was, see, it's a small town. They don't have buildings, right? In cities, you have buildings, you have places which you can rent. It's small town. Everyone is having his own house, right? Now, when I entered there, I had no place to rent. Everyone had their own house, so no one. So there was no concept of paying guests also. So I was wondering that where do I stay? So there was this lodge. So these lodge where all the sales guys go and stay there, when they travel. So I took up. So that was the first challenge, is finding an accommodation. Where do I stay, right? Food, of course, was a very big challenge. Those of you who have traveled in Bihar, the concept of restaurants, is, and because in rural it's all the more difficult because you travel a lot. So at any given point of time, when I used to start, early morning by 6:30 to reach my market, because I had to travel on my bike and reach my market somewhere around 9:30. It will take me 3 hours of travel to reach my market, right? I know that I need to have my breakfast at 6 or at 6 a.m. itself, and at 6 a.m. no lodge is going to give me breakfast. So I used to get a lot of biscuits, in my bag and stuff, so that I know I will not be having lunch, because there are no restaurants. There are no such restaurants which I can go and have proper food. These are dhabas, right? And dhabas, have a very strict time. You cannot just walk into a dhaba and say, "Okay, I want this." Right? They have very strict times, and in sales, you'll have to, there is no timing. Sometimes I have lunch at 4 o'clock. Sometimes I have lunch at very early, right? So of course, the accommodation, the food. From a personal perspective, from a professional perspective, the challenges was, of course, when I joined, no one took me seriously. So my distributor, oh, नया लड़का आया हुआ है, he's a new guy. I was what? I was a fresh. I didn't have any experience before that. So I was what, 22, 23 years old. So he looked at me and said, "Oh, you are the new company guy, kya?" And the retailers didn't take me seriously. Oh, the new kid has come, so it took me, it took me a lot of time to tell them, ki boss, I'm not a kid here. I know my job, and I know that you want the best deal, and I'm the only one who can give you the best deal. Please understand, the distributor is also there to get the maximum profit out of the company. The retailer is also there to get the maximum profit, and I am the only one who can ensure that. So I can only tell the distributor, ki boss, till now you have been making a 24% ROI. If you work with me, I can make that ROI go up to 20, 30. But you'll have to work with me, right? So people considered me a toothless tiger. People didn't take me seriously. Oh, this is a new kid here. Immediately people used to bypass me. So my distributor, if he has some work with the company, normally he's supposed to come to me, but he will say, "Oh, he's a kid here. I will call his boss." Right? So the call used to go to my boss and say, but my boss was very supportive. He used to tell my distributor, "There's a guy there. He is your boss. Don't call me. Right? You call him. He, whatever query you have, he will get it resolved. Let him come to me. I will discuss it with him." So my boss was very clear that you are my manager there. Your area, your problem, your success, your failure, whatever it is, it is yours. So don't come to me crying if you fail. Don't come to me happy if you succeed. It's all yours. So my managers were very, very, very clear in that sense. So of course, when you walk in, getting to noticed seriously was a very big struggle. But of course, you'll have to earn that respect when you start working. That you're not some kid or new kid on the block. That was the biggest challenge. It was convincing people that I'm serious. That was the biggest challenge.
Hello. Good
Yes.
morning, sir.
Hi, Surbi. Yeah.
I am finance student. I have
Yeah.
one follow-up question.
Yeah.
So you must be frustrated sometime because Begusarai is so a small town. So how do you keep a smile on your face during a hard day?
Ah. See, smile on my face. I tell you, nothing succeeds like success, right? At the end of the day, and I know Mayank asked me a question that, if I'm not cut out for sales, what do I do? Even when I entered sales, I was not sure that I will be able to do sales, right? But but trust me, when I started doing it, and when I started succeeding, when I started thinking, "Boss, this is not so difficult, man," right? It is. These are some really simple guys in rural Bihar. The distributor is very simple, very logical, but very simple guys. The logic cuts ice, and it's not so difficult to do sales. I have a very good product with me, right? I have a champion product with me. It's not very, very difficult. So when you start getting success, the smile will keep coming on your face. When you see ki boss, I'm not so bad as much as I thought it to be, right? When I went there, I thought I will not be able to do my target. Of course, the first month I was not able to do my target, but the second month I did my target. The third month I over exceeded my target, right? Then I got hang of it. This is not so difficult as people make out to be. All you need to do is you understand the process, that what will it take to do things. Of course, there will be downturn. There will be months where you will be devastated. There will be months where you will not be able to look yourself in the eye in the mirror and say, "Okay, is this the performance that you want?" Of course, there will be this a business cycle. What goes up will go down. There will be months where it will be very tough, right? But at the end of the day, in sales, one of the beauty of sales is, you are only, we have this saying in sales, is that you are only as good as your last month, right? That if you are only as good as your last closing. If your last closing or the last bucket closing or the last month end closing was good, you will be, you walk into a meeting with a lot of confidence. But if your last closing was not good, your shoulders will be droopy, because numbers give you a lot of confidence, right? It actually builds your confidence to say, "Boss, I'm not, I also know something, man. It's not so difficult. I also can do this," right? So that's the only thing which kept smile on my face, if you ask me, was when I used to do my numbers. The day I knew that I have done my target, I was very happy. The day I knew that I have not done my targets, or not done to the expectation, yes, I was not so happy.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Surabhi.
Sir, I have a follow-up question regarding this.
Yes, yes.
How are the market dynamics different in rural and urban cities? As you've worked in both the cities, so can you tell me the difference in the market dynamics?
Yeah. So see, I tell you, the biggest difference between a rural and an urban market so let me tell you, in rural, the race is that who reaches first. If you reach, you will win. The rural game is very simple. Why do you think till today Unilever, the strategy in rural is go as deep as possible, right? Till today, Unilever says, "Ki boss, I am not in rural to fight competition. Competition will be there. It is not going to, I'm not going to, attack competition in rural. In rural, there is single biggest objective is, I want to, as many towns as possible. I want to, because there are not many companies who can incur that kind of a cost to reach rural. It's an expensive business. The transportation cost to rural, to reach rural is quite high, especially in an infrastructure in India. Is as in UP, in Bihar. UP is as big a size, as a Pakistan. In population, it's as big, 20 crore population. Imagine, right? So it's the idea in rural is that you go as deep as possible, right? You go as many towns. But in urban India, The idea is you be better than the competition, right? So you're offering. So you see in urban India, a lot of focus on premiumization. I will be launching much better products at much higher price points. I want to get much higher share of the consumer wallet. In urban India, the idea is not just reach. Of course, you have to be available in urban India. Otherwise, the battle is lost. In urban India, the battle is that who gets the maximum share of the wallet of the consumer. In rural India, it's all about reaching. If I reach the consumer, I know I will get the share. That's the biggest difference between urban and rural. In rural, you reach, you win. In urban, it's all about getting the highest share of the consumer wallet.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hello,
Thank you.
sir. Good afternoon.
Yep.
Sunubia here. So my
Sunivia, yeah.
question for you is that even after having 70% of market share for Fevicol, we still see a lot of advertisement on the television and everywhere. So what is
Sure.
this reason behind this strategy? Like want to
Yeah.
know.
See, so if you look at it specifically for Fevicol, right? So your question is very valid that Fevicol, the normal consumer like you and me, the Fevicol which is used in furniture, very few consumers will go out and say, I want a Fevicol, right? They will not look at an ad and say, oh, I want to buy a Fevicol. You're right in that. But why do we advertise? We advertise is because and if you look at it, we don't advertise so often. The advertisement for Fevicol will be not so frequent, but as an FMCG company or a Fevikwik advertisement will be there. Fevikwik will be there for 12 months in the year. Fevikwik advertisement because it's a very fast moving consumer product, right? So people like you and me go out and buy Fevikwik. Fevicol is not very fast moving. You will require Fevicol only when there's a furniture work going on in your house, right? So the frequency of advertisement is very, very less. Maybe once in 2 years or maybe once in a year, you will see a Fevicol ad. Now, why do we do this? We do this is because today brand Fevicol is what it is today. Of course, on the dual strength of the carpenter trust, because the carpenter trusts the brand, and also because the consumer says, I will not accept anything else apart from Fevicol. Right? I trust. For me, Fevicol is for me glue. White glue is Fevicol. So I need to keep reiterating, keep reminding the consumer that Fevicol is still there. So it's just a brand building exercise. It's not a sales driven exercise. And if you look at it, all our communication in Fevicol, it's not about selling the product. If you look at the tone of the communication, how many of you saw the advertisement for that, Sharmain ka sofa? 90-second advertisement. The journey of a sofa,
Yes.
right? It's a beautiful Piyush
Yes.
Pandey, those of you who belong to the rural hinterland of UP, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, right? You must have seen that particular ad, and that particular that thing that everyone says, Sharmayan ya fir Bangalan, that's a very typical tonality of that particular brand that he speaks. A lot of Fevicol brand advertisement that you see was what you see in Rajasthani folk Rajasthani, right? So the tonality is not selling you. The tonality is brand building. That we just want to keep equating that if there is bonding means Fevicol. That's the same message that we want to keep reiterating, maybe once in every 2 years or maybe once every year.
Hello.
Yes,
Uh,
Pranav.
Hello, sir. I am Pranav.
Yeah.
I am doing marketing in Imperial School of Banking and Management Studies.
Okay.
So my question is, sir, this pandemic nowadays, what is the challenges of a salesperson in to sell the products in the marketing perspective?
Yeah, thank you so much for that question, Pranav. And I'm glad you asked me that question. Yes, the job of a frontline salesperson is difficult. It's very, very difficult. I know because I have over 110 of them. There are 110 sales guys that I look after, and their safety, their well-being is my responsibility, right? I know when the unlock happens, when the unlock started happening, and we had to start when the sales guy had to return to the market. I was very worried, you know. So yes, is it difficult? Absolutely, it is. But that's the in one of my earlier LinkedIn posts, I had said that while people keep saying that yes, the doctors, the nurses, the police guys, these are the frontline sales guys, frontline guys in the warriors towards COVID, and all respect to them, all salute to them. For me, as much as for as much how important they are, for me it's also the sales guys who's absolutely important, because if he doesn't go to the market, the sales doesn't happen. Today I am sitting in this uniform in my home today, it's because there's a sales guy who's going from Monday to Saturday daily in the market, outlet by outlet, selling products with the same passion. Whenever I work with my team members, with my colleagues on the ground, they're so much full of passion, so it is difficult. But in Pidilite, now what we have done is that there's a lot of safety measures, that so all of my guys, when you see a Pidilite sales guy in the market, the company sales guy in the market, the company representative, you will see him wearing the mask, you will see him wearing gloves, you will see him with the shield, with the glass shield will there. He, we have tablets, so he doesn't have to touch anything there. We have tablets, handle devices which he takes orders on. The orders go directly to my distributors on a system, so he doesn't have to hand over anything to the distributor. The entire process. Now we have also launched the sanitizer and the instant disinfector. So when the distributor dispatches stocks, he disinfects the entire stock and then dispatches to my retailer. So we are taking a lot of safety precautions. We upcountry travel. Previously my guys used to go on upcountry travel on bikes and all. We have completely stopped all that. We are saying do not travel upcountry. Stay with your family, stay with your loved ones in the city itself. Do your work in the city itself. Do not travel to upcountry and stay in hotels and risk yourself, right? So we have come out. So as a not just Pidilite, I'm saying a lot of companies are looking at the sales guys and saying how best can we help them. But yes, as many challenges are there, but you'll have to work with the sales guys and understand that what kind of passion. In fact, let me tell you, when we had the lockdown, for 45 days, I received countless number of calls from so many of them and telling, sir, let ye kab hatega, I want to go back to market. These guys cannot just stay at home. They just cannot stay at home. They'll feel very, my goodness, 45 days I'm sitting at home. I've not met my retailer, because they are so, they're so used to meeting people. They're so used to, having that conversation, having that chai. So in Pidilite, we have this parlance that whenever you go to the market visit, if you do not have 10 cups of tea in a day, then you have not done a good market visit, right? So every outlet you go, he will make you sit, have tea with me. So normally in a day you'll see 12 to 20 cups of tea that you end up drinking, right? So these are those guys who are used to that kind of selling. So yes, these are champion guys. These are absolute warriors for me. Is because if these guys do not go to the market, of course, these are a lot of things won't move as much as I want them to move. So hats off to them, and hopefully this pandemic as over the months this should get under control, and with the immunization, whatever things can happen, should get under control. That's my hope.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. This is Kirti.
Yeah, hi, Kirti.
Yes, sir. I'm a finance student, sir. And my question is, if now I enter as a fresher in a market by doing sales, and so can I change my by doing sales?
Okay.
So after some years, can I change my career from sales to core finance?
From sales to core finance. See, of course you can. I provided you pick up sales in a financial institution itself, right? So you pick up sales in a financial institution, right? In fact, you will be one of the prime jobs to be picked up for a core finance jobs. If you have done sales in the financial sector itself. Of course, I do understand if you do sales in an FMCG company, then making a transition, it will take some time, because that you'll have to shift roles in between. But I don't see any challenge if you have done sales in a core financial sector, right? Interacted with a B2B client, interacted with a B2C client. right? And done sales and then moved on to core finance verticals, absolutely, they will be more than welcoming.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes, I think you've covered almost all the queries of the students. So
Thank you. Thank you so much.
thank you, sir. It was indeed very insightful and helpful. Thanks a lot for taking out time on a Sunday and being with us.
Thank you, you guys. I am free on a Sunday. You guys. I know MBA. I had my classes on Sunday, right? So I
Right.
know you guys took out time. And thank you, Surya. Thank you for making
No,
me do
thanks,
this.
Lokesh.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Lokesh. It was so kind of you. You could spend a lot of time. It was very insightful. We will look forward for many more such interactions and many more, and much and more guidance from you on various things, Lokesh.
Absolutely, absolutely, sir.
Right?
More than welcome.
Yes. It's always very nice to listen to someone who has started from the very scratch and grown to this levels. So it was very insightful. Once again, I would like to thank you on behalf of everyone. You took out some good time. And we look forward, Lokesh, for many such interactions and more guidances also.
Absolutely, Surya. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. It was lovely
Thanks.
interacting with you guys. Right. In the end, I would only say have fun, guys. Don't take life so seriously. Right. Have fun. Careers. Don't try to manage careers. Careers will manage themselves. Right. So don't take too much pressure of career. In the end, सब लोग कहीं ना कहीं पहुंच ही जाते हैं. Right. So don't worry, and you will be very happy. If you look back 20 years down the line, how far you have reached, you'll be very happy. Thank you so much. It was lovely interacting with all of you. Right. And I wish all of you very best.
Thank you. Thanks a
Thank
lot,
you.
sir.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank you.
good day.
Have a good
Thank you.
weekend.
Wish you the same. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks.